The Book of Nehemiah. Chapter 1. The words of Nehemiah the son of Hakaliah. Now it happened in the month Chislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace, that Hanani, one of my brothers, came, he and certain men out of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews who had escaped, who were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. They said to me, The remnant who are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem also is broken down, and the gates are burned with fire. It happened, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept, and mourned certain days, and I fasted and prayed before the God of heaven, and said, I beg you, Lord, the God of heaven, the great and awesome God, who keeps covenant and loving kindness with those who love him and keep his commandments. Let your ear now be attentive, and your eyes open, that you may listen to the prayer of your servant, which I pray before you at this time, day and night, for the children of Israel your servants, while I confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against you. Yes, I and my father's house have sinned. We have dealt very corruptly against you, and have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the ordinances which you commanded your servant Moses. Remember, I beg you, the word that you commanded your servant Moses, saying, If you trespass, I will scatter you abroad among the peoples. But if you return to me and keep my commandments and do them, though you are outcast in the uttermost part of the heavens, yet I will gather them from there, and will bring them to the place that I have chosen, to cause my name to dwell there. Now these are your servants and your people, whom you have redeemed by your great power and by your strong hand. Lord, I beg you, let now your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant, and to the prayer of your servants, who delight to fear your name. And please prosper your servant this day, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man. Now I was cupbearer to the king. Chapter 2. It happened in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, when wine was before him, that I took up the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had not been before sad in his presence. The king said to me, Why is your face sad, seeing you are not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very afraid. I said to the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my face be sad, when the city, the place of my father's tombs, lies waste, and the gates of it are consumed with fire? Then the king said to me, For what do you make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. I said to the king, If it please the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, then you would send me to Judah, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may build it. The king said to me, the queen also sitting by him, For how long shall your journey be, and when will you return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. Moreover, I said to the king, If it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may let me pass through until I come to Judah, and a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the castle which appertains to the house, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall enter into. The king granted me according to the good hand of my God on me. Then I came to the governors beyond the river, and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent with me captains of the army and horsemen. When Sanballat the Horonite, and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly, because a man had come to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. So I came to Jerusalem, and was there 3 days. I arose in the night, I and some few men with me. Neither told I any man what my God had put into my heart to do for Jerusalem. Neither was there any animal with me, except the animal that I rode on. I went out by night by the valley gate, even toward the jackal's well, and to the dung gate, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem which were broken down, and the gates were consumed with fire. Then I went on to the spring gate and to the king's pool, but there was no place for the animal that was under me to pass. Then I went up in the night by the brook and viewed the wall, and I turned back and entered by the valley gate, and so returned. The rulers didn't know where I went or what I did. Neither had I as yet told it to the Jews, nor to the priests, nor to the nobles, nor to the rulers, nor to the rest who did the work. Then I said to them, You see the evil case that we are in, how Jerusalem lies waste, and its gates are burned with fire. Come, and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more a reproach. I told them of the hand of my God which was good on me, as also of the king's words that he had spoken to me. They said, Let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for the good work. But when Sanballat the Horonite, and Tobiah the servant the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they ridiculed us and despised us, and said, What is this thing that you do? Will you rebel against the king? Then I answered them and said to them, The God of heaven, he will prosper us. Therefore we his servants will arise and build. But you have no portion, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem. Chapter 3. Then Eliashib the high priest rose up with his brothers the priests, and they built the sheep gate. They sanctified it, and set up its doors, even to the tower of Hamaiah, and they sanctified it, even to the tower of Hananel. Next to them built the men of Jericho. Next to them built Zakur the son of Imri. The fish gate did the sons of Hassanah build. They laid its beams, and set up its doors, bolts, and bars. Next to them repaired Meremoth the son of Uriah, the son of Hakkoz. Next to them repaired Meshullam the son of Berechiah, the son of Meshazabel. Next to them repaired Zadok the son of Bana. Next to them the Tekoites repaired, but their nobles didn't put their necks to the work of their lord. The old gate repaired Joiada the son of Paseah, and Meshullam the son of Besodeiah. They laid its beams, set up its doors, bolts, and bars. Next to them repaired Melatiah the Gibeonite, and Jadon the Meronothite, the men of Gibeon and of Mizpah, all that pertained to the throne of the governor beyond the river. Next to them repaired Uzziel the son of Hariah, goldsmiths. Next to them repaired Hananiah one of the perfumers, and they fortified Jerusalem even to the broad wall. Next to them repaired Raphiah the son of Hur, the ruler of half the district of Jerusalem. Next to them repaired Jediah the son of Harumaph, over against his house. Next to him repaired Hattush the son of Hashabniah, Machijah the son of Haram, and Hashab the son of Pahath Moab. They repaired another portion, and the tower of the furnaces. Next to them repaired Shallum the son of Halohesh, the ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, he and his daughters. The valley gate repaired Hanan, and the inhabitants of Zanoah. They built it, and set up its doors, bolts, and bars, and 1,000 cubits of the wall, even to the dung gate. The dung gate was repaired by Malchijah the son of Rechab, the ruler of the district of Beth Hacherim. He built it, and set up its doors, bolts, and bars. The spring gate was repaired by Shallum the son of Kolhelzeh, the ruler of the district of Mizpah. He built it and covered it, and set up its doors, bolts, and bars, and the wall of the pool of Shelah by the king's gardens, even to the stairs that go down from the city of David. Besides him repaired Nehemiah the son of Azbuk, the ruler of half the district of Bethsur, to the place over against the tombs of David, and to the pool that was made, and to the house of the mighty men. Beside him repaired the Levites, Rehum the son of Bani. Next to them repaired Hashabiah, the ruler of half the district of Keilah for his district. Beside him repaired his brother, Bavi the son of Henadad, the ruler of half the district of Keilah. Next to him repaired Ezer the son of Jeshua, the ruler of Mizpah, another portion, over against the ascent to the armory of the turning of the wall. After him Baruch the son of Zabai earnestly repaired another portion, from the turning of the wall to the door of the house of Eliashib the high priest. Besides him repaired Meremoth the son of Uriah the son of Hakkoz another portion, from the door of the house of Eliashib even to the end of the house of Eliashib. Beside him repaired the priests, the men of the plain. Besides them repaired Benjamin and Hashab over against their house. Beside them repaired Azariah the son of Messiah the son of Ananiah beside his own house. Next to him repaired Benoi the son of Henadad another portion, from the house of Azariah to the turning of the wall into the corner. Palal the son of Uzai repaired over against the turning of the wall, and the tower that stands out from the upper house of the king, which is by the court of the guard. Next to him Pedaiah the son of Parash worked. Now the Nethinim lived in Ophel, to the place over against the water gate toward the east, and the tower that stands out. Beside him the Tekoites repaired another portion, over against the great tower that stands out into the wall of Ophel. Above the horse gate repaired the priests, every one over against his own house. Next to them repaired Zadok the son of Immer over against his own house, and next to him repaired Shemaiah the son of Shechaniah, the keeper of the east gate. After him repaired Hananiah the son of Shelemiah, and Hanan the sixth son of Zalaph another portion. Besides them repaired Meshullam the son of Berechiah over against his chamber. After him repaired Malchijah one of the goldsmiths to the house of the Nethinim and of the merchants over against the gate of Hamaphkad, to the ascent of the corner. Between the ascent of the corner and the sheep gate repaired the goldsmiths and the merchants. Chapter 4. But it happened that when Sanballat heard that we were building the wall, he was angry, and took great indignation, and mocked the Jews. He spoke before his brothers in the army of Samaria, and said, What are these feeble Jews doing? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of rubbish, seeing they are burned? Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, Even that which they are building, if a fox go up, he shall break down their stone wall. Hear, our God, for we are despised, and turn back the reproach on their own head, and give them up for a spoil in a land of captivity, and don't cover their iniquity, and don't let their sin be blotted out from before you, for they have provoked you to anger before the builders. So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together to half the height of it, for the people had a mind to work. But it happened that when Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabians, the Ammonites, and the Ashdodites heard that the repairing of the walls of Jerusalem went forward, and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very angry, and they conspired all of them together to come and fight against Jerusalem, and to cause confusion therein. But we made our prayer to our God, and set a watch against them day and night because of them. Judah said, The strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. Our adversaries said, They shall not know, neither see, until we come into the midst of them and kill them, and cause the work to cease. It happened that when the Jews who lived by them came, they said to us 10 times from all places, You must come back to us. Therefore I set in the lowest parts of the space behind the wall, and the open places, I set there the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. I looked and rose up and said to the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses. It happened, when our enemies heard that it was known to us, and God had brought their counsel to nothing, that we returned all of us to the wall, every one to his work. It happened from that time forth, that half my servants worked in the work, and half of them held the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the coats of mail, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. They all built the wall, and those who bore burdens loaded themselves. Every one with one of his hands worked in the work, and with the other held his weapon. And the builders, every one had his sword girded by his side, and so built. He who sounded the trumpet was by me. I said to the nobles, and to the rulers, and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated on the wall, one far from another. In whatever place you hear the sound of the trumpet, come there to us. Our God will fight for us. So we worked in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning until the stars appeared. Likewise at the same time I said to the people, let every one with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night they may be a guard to us, and may labor in the day. So neither I, nor my brothers, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard who followed me, none of us put off our clothes. Every one went with his weapon to the water. Chapter 5. Then there arose a great cry of the people, and of their wives against their brothers the Jews. For there were those that said, we, our sons and our daughters, are many. Let us get grain that we may eat and live. Some also there were that said, we are mortgaging our fields and our vineyards and our houses. Let us get grain because of the lack. There were also those that said, we have borrowed money for the king's tribute on our fields and our vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brothers, our children as their children. And behold, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought into bondage already. Neither is it in our power to help, for other men have our fields and our vineyards. I was very angry when I heard their cry and these words. Then I consulted with myself, and contended with the nobles and the rulers, and said to them, you exact interest, every one of his brother. I held a great assembly against them. I said to them, we after our ability have redeemed our brothers the Jews, that were sold to the nations. And would you even sell your brothers, or should they be sold to us? Then they held their peace, and didn't answer a word. Also I said, the thing you do is not good. Ought you not to walk in the fear of our God, because of the reproach of the nations our enemies? I likewise lend money and grain to my brothers and my servants. Please, let's stop this usury. Let's restore to them even this day their fields, their vineyards, their olive groves, and their houses, also the 100th part of the money and of the grain, the new wine and the oil that you charge them. Then they said, we will restore it to them, and will require nothing of them, so we will do even as you say. Then I called the priest, and took an oath of them, that they would do according to this promise. Also I shook out my lap, and said, so God shake out every man from his house and from his labor, that doesn't perform this promise. Even thus shall he be shaken out and emptied. All the assembly said, Amen, and praised the Lord. The people did according to this promise. Moreover, from that time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year, even to the 32nd year of Artaxerxes the king, that is 12 years, I and my brothers have not eaten the bread of the governor. But the former governors who were before me were chargeable to the people, and took from them bread and wine, besides 40 shekels of silver. Yes, even their servants bore rule over the people, but I didn't do so, because of the fear of God. Yes, I also continued in the work of this wall. Neither bought we any land, and all my servants were gathered there to the work. Moreover, there were at my table, of the Jews and the rulers, 150 men, besides those who came to us from among the nations that were around us. Now that which was prepared for one day was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep. Also fowls were prepared for me, and once in 10 days stores of all sorts of wine. Yet for all this I didn't demand the bread of the governor, because the bondage was heavy on this people. Remember me, my God, for good, all that I have done for this people. Chapter 6. Now it happened, when it was reported to Sanballat and Tobiah, and to Geshem the Arabian, and to the rest of our enemies, that I had built the wall, and that there was no breach in it, though even to that time I had not set up the doors and the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent to me, saying, Come, let us meet together in one of the villages of the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me mischief. I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I can't come down. Why should the work cease? Why should I leave it and come down to you? They sent to me 4 times in this way, and I answered them after the same manner. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me in the same way the 5th time, with an open letter in his hand, in which was written, It is reported among the nations, and Gashmu says, that you and the Jews think to rebel, for which cause you are building the wall, and you would be their king, according to these words. You have also appointed prophets to preach about you at Jerusalem, saying, There is a king in Judah. And now it shall be reported to the king according to these words. Come now, therefore, and let us take counsel together. Then I sent to him, saying, There are no such things done as you say, but you feigned them out of your own heart. For they all would have made us afraid, saying, Their hands shall be weakened from the work, that it not be done. But now, God, strengthen my hands. I went to the house of Shemaiah, the son of Deliah, the son of Mehetabel, who was shut up, and he said, Let us meet together in the house of God, within the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, for they will come to kill you. Yes, in the night they will come to kill you. I said, Should such a man as I flee? And who is there that being such as I would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. I discerned, and behold, God had not sent him, but he pronounced this prophecy against me, and Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. For this cause was he hired, that I should be afraid and do so in sin, and that they might have matter for an evil report, that they might reproach me. Remember, my God, Tobiah and Sanballat according to these their works, and also the prophetess Noadiah, and the rest of the prophets that would have put me in fear. So the wall was finished in the 25th day of the month Elul, in 52 days. It happened, when all our enemies heard of it, that all the nations that were about us feared, and were much cast down in their own eyes, for they perceived that this work was worked of our God. Moreover, in those days the nobles of Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and the letters of Tobiah came to them. For there were many in Judah sworn to him, because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah the son of Ara, and his son Jehohanan had taken the daughter of Meshullam the son of Berechiah as wife. Also they spoke of his good deeds before me, and reported my words to him. Tobiah sent letters to put me in fear.
Now concerning the things about which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, but, because of sexual immoralities, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband render to his wife the affection owed her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife doesn't have authority over her own body, but the husband. Likewise also the husband doesn't have authority over his own body, but the wife. Don't deprive one another, unless it is by consent for a season, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and may be together again, that Satan doesn't tempt you because of your lack of self-control. But this I say by way of concession, not of commandment. Yet I wish that all men were like me. However, each man has his own gift from God, one of this kind, and another of that kind. But I say to the unmarried and to widows, it is good for them if they remain even as I am. But if they don't have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. But to the married I command, not I but the Lord, that the wife not leave her husband. But if she departs, let her remain unmarried, or else be reconciled to her husband, and that the husband not leave his wife. But to the rest I, not the Lord, say, if any brother has an unbelieving wife, and she is content to live with him, let him not leave her. The woman who has an unbelieving husband, and he is content to live with her, let her not leave her husband. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified in the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified in the husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but now are they holy. Yet if the unbeliever departs, let there be separation. The brother or the sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God has called us in peace. For how do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife? Only, as the Lord has distributed to each man, as God has called each, so let him walk. So I command in all the assemblies. Was anyone called having been circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. Has anyone been called in uncircumcision? Let him not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of God. Let each man stay in that calling in which he was called. Were you called being a bondservant? Don't let that bother you, but if you get an opportunity to become free, use it. For he who was called in the Lord, being a bondservant, is the Lord's free man. Likewise, he who was called being free is Christ's bondservant. You were bought with a price. Don't become bondservants of men. Brothers, let each man, in whatever condition he was called, stay in that condition with God. Now concerning virgins, I have no commandment from the Lord, but I give my judgment as one who has obtained mercy from the Lord to be trustworthy. I think that it is good, therefore, because of the distress that is on us, that it is good for a man to be as he is. Are you bound to a wife? Don't seek to be freed. Are you free from a wife? Don't seek a wife. But if you marry, you have not sinned. If a virgin marries, she has not sinned. Yet such will have oppression in the flesh, and I want to spare you. But I say this, brothers, the time is short, that from now on both those who have wives may be as though they had none, and those who weep as though they didn't weep, and those who rejoice as though they didn't rejoice, and those who buy as though they didn't possess, and those who use the world as not using it to the fullest. For the mode of this world passes away. But I desire to have you be free from cares. He who is unmarried is concerned for the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he who is married is concerned about the things of the world, how he may please his wife. There is also a difference between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cares about the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But she who is married cares about the things of the world, how she may please her husband. This I say for your own profit, not that I may ensnare you, but for that which is appropriate, and that you may attend to the Lord without distraction. But if any man thinks that he is behaving inappropriately toward his virgin, if she is past the flower of her age, and if need so requires, let him do what he desires. He doesn't sin. Let them marry. But he who stands steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but has power over his own heart to keep his own virgin, does well. So then both he who gives his own virgin in marriage does well, and he who doesn't give her in marriage does better. A wife is bound by law for as long as her husband lives. But if the husband is dead, she is free to be married to whoever she desires, only in the Lord. But she is happier if she stays as she is in my judgment, and I think that I also have God's Spirit.
Psalm 32, by David, a contemplative psalm. Blessed is he whose disobedience is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man to whom Yahweh doesn't impute iniquity, in whose spirit there is no deceit. When I kept silence, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy on me. My strength was sapped in the heat of summer. I acknowledged my sin to you. I didn't hide my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to Yahweh, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin. For this, let everyone who is godly pray to you in a time when you may be found. Surely when the great waters overflow, they shall not reach to him. You are my hiding place. You will preserve me from trouble. You will surround me with songs of deliverance. I will instruct you and teach you in the way which you shall go. I will counsel you with my eye on you. Don't be like the horse or like the mule, which have no understanding, who are controlled by bit and bridle, or else they will not come near to you. Many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he who trusts in Yahweh, loving kindness shall surround him. Be glad in Yahweh, and rejoice, you righteous. Shout for joy, all you who are upright in heart.
A high look and a proud heart, The lamp of the wicked is sin. The plans of the diligent surely lead to profit, and everyone who is hasty surely rushes to poverty. Getting treasures by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor for those who seek death. The violence of the wicked will drive them away, because they refuse to do what is right.